My beloved child, the moment has come when there is no more room for hesitation. If you take even one more step astray, the way of escape prepared for your soul will close, and the helps that heaven has appointed for you will drift farther and farther away. What I am about to lay bare is not a soft, pleasant consolation, but a key that can turn the course of your spiritual destiny forever. I say this to you: do not wait for a perfectly peaceful day to look for me, because that kind of peace will never come in the way you imagine. It is precisely when your breath is heavy, when your heart is in chaos, and all the noises of life suddenly fall silent, that I draw closest. But if you keep running, keep hiding, keep acting strong, you will miss me in the very moment when I am standing right at the door of your heart. Do you know what the strangest paradox of the soul is? You often think, you must get out of your confusion before you dare to come near the Holy One. Yet it is that very confusion that is heaven's knock at your door. The moments when you feel most lost are the very moments when I am trying hardest to open a way for you to come home. If you would only stop just for a single second, you would hear that, within all that turmoil, my footsteps are drawing near. There are seasons when you are convinced you are strong, but in truth, you are merely forcing yourself to get through the day. You tell yourself you must hold out for the sake of others, while what I desire is disarmingly simple. I just want you to be honest. I am not waiting for a flawless prayer. I am waiting for your unhidden sigh, because it is that bare, unvarnished truth that opens the door for me to enter the deepest places within you. And when you perceive my silence, do not rush to conclude that you have been abandoned. A skilled craftsman does not make noise when he is touching the sorest place. My silence is not distance. It is the delicate work of uprooting what you could never face alone. If you are patient enough to remain, you will see that very silence changing your cup and soul, little by little. My child, I see very clearly the cycle into which most souls fall. When everything is more stable, I will pray. When my mind is less troubled, I will come back to the Lord. It sounds reasonable, but it is only a cloak thrown over an inner emptiness you do not dare to face. I have never demanded that you be tidy before you come. I step right into the tangled knots you are most afraid for others to see. Every time I plant in your heart a small invitation: stop for a moment, be still a little, listen to me. I am leading you toward an encounter heaven has already prepared, but when you rush past it because you are too busy, too anxious, too afraid, you unintentionally trade away the very presence that is seeking you. And this is my warning to you: if you keep letting the word tomorrow rule your soul, one day you will realize you have chased after so many empty things, while the only one who could truly fill you, myself, you have let slip through your fingers. My dear child, I want you to hear this with an open heart, because it touches the very roots of your soul. Many times you have soothed yourself with the thought, I will seek God when things are more settled, but in reality that is a fog hiding a fear you do not want to name. You are not postponing because you are busy. You are postponing because there are inner voids you are reluctant to expose to my light. Yet it is precisely those empty spaces where I touch you most deeply, the places I desire to heal first. Do not let the words, later on, become an invisible wall that keeps your soul from the grace prepared uniquely for you. I do not come when everything in your life is already beautiful. I come to make it beautiful. And if you keep waiting until your life is neatly arranged, you will miss the very moment when I am waiting for you right at the threshold. You do not delay me because you are evil or uncaring, but because you are afraid you will never be good enough before the Holy One. Many souls are just like you. They imagine they must be perfected before they dare to seek me. Imagine they must already be at peace before they dare to pray. Imagine they must be living better before they deserve to come near the Lord. But you forget that I see everything you are hiding, your failures, your fractures, the anxieties you keep pressed down in your heart. Not a single shard of your brokenness makes me reluctant to come near. Only your turning away makes me pause. I do not wait for you to be okay before I touch you. I want to touch what is not okay, so that you can be free of it. And if you do not dare to step out from behind that disguise, you will remain in a chaos you think is temporary, but which in truth can stretch across a whole lifetime. Do you remember Naaman, the leprous commander in the Book of Kings. That powerful man once gathered up plenty of reasons to postpone his healing. He thought the river Jordan was too small, its waters too ordinary, not worthy of the miracle he expected. He almost lost his chance at healing simply because he wanted everything to fit the shape of his own ideas. Only when he laid down his pride and stepped into the very place the Lord had indicated was he fully restored. You are the same. You demand a perfect situation, a steady mind, a spotless life before coming to me. But I choose the most ordinary, cluttered, shattered places in you as the very ground of my miracles. To be near God is my happiness. Ps. 73-28. And that happiness begins the moment you stop demanding conditions in order to be close to me. Come back to me, child. Not when your worries are gone, not when your confusion has cleared, and certainly not only when you have learned how to live your faith properly. Come back at the very moment you feel least ready, because that is when you need me most. I am not asking whether you are strong. I am asking whether you will let me hold the very struggle that is tearing you apart. You do not need to rearrange your life before standing in my presence. Let me be the one who rearranges it for you. With just a quiet cry from your heart, all of heaven will move to raise you up, and then you will find yourself wondering why it took you so long to dare to step into the arms I have been holding out to you for so very long. My child, sometimes what makes you delay is not the turmoil outside, but the mask you have worn for too long. You want to be strong, to appear okay, to have others think you are unshakable, to the point that even before me, you are afraid to let me see your true weakness. But you know, it is that very straining that exhausts your spirit more than any trial ever could. I am not looking for a child who knows how to perform. I am looking for a child who dares to breathe honestly in my presence. And when you finally stop forcing yourself, you will understand why I have been waiting for you just behind that hard shell where truth begins and where a real encounter is finally opened. There is a particular weariness that many souls carry but few recognize. The weariness of having to look peaceful while inside everything is in disarray. You have been like that too, haven't you? You try to keep a smile in front of others, try to say all the right religious words, try to show that you are strong enough to get through anything. But I see clearly the empty spaces you do not allow anyone to touch. You think I need that polished image, but I have never asked you to put on a show. I desire your real heart, even if it is trembling, limping, soaked with tears. What I seek is not a role well played, but a soul that dares to be honest so that it can be healed. My child, there are nights you pray as though you were reading from a rehearsed script, each sentence beautiful, but no longer carrying the real warmth of your heart. I know you do this because you are afraid of saying the wrong thing, afraid of exposing your fragility, afraid I will be disappointed. But you do not need to fear me. I knew you before you ever knew yourself. The clumsy prayers, the ones that choke in your throat, even the scattered, disordered words, these are what I cherish most, for they are not the product of a mind trying to get it right, but the cry of a heart that longs to be held. The more you strive for perfection, the farther you quietly drift from me without even realizing it. Remember the prayer of the tax collector in the temple, a story many overlook because it seems too simple. He did not stand in the center. He did not dare to lift his eyes. He only breathed a short plea. God, be merciful to me, a sinner. While the Pharisee spoke long and eloquently, as though performing for the whole world, it was the tax collector who first caught my gaze. For I do not measure the perfection of words. I measure the truthfulness of the heart. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Ps. 34-19. Think for a moment why I choose to come near precisely where you are weakest. It is because there you have nothing left to hide, and I can enter without meeting any resistance. I long for you to understand this. You do not need to appear strong before me. You only need to be real. If you tremble, then tremble in my arms. If you are afraid, tell me that fear. If you cannot pray for long, a single breath that calls my name is enough. I do not reward long prayers. I embrace the most honest sighs. The more you try to act fine, the farther you move from the very thing you are seeking. And every time you dare to lay down the heavy cloak of your pretense, you open yet another door for me to enter more deeply into your soul. Sometimes you are tired not because life is too heavy, but because you are straining to maintain the image of a strong faith. You fear disappointing others, fear disappointing me, fear disappointing even yourself if you were to look directly at your weakness. But the more you chase that image, the more your soul is worn away. Faith is not a stage, but a place where you can fall without shame. When you are brave enough to drop the role, you will see that I have been standing there all along, like a father who only wants to hold his exhausted child. And when you begin to live truthfully, you will discover something deeper, waiting beyond that, my silence, which so many souls misunderstand. There are times you are already honest with me, and yet you still feel I do not answer. That very silence opens up a new land in your journey of faith, a place where actors cannot stand firm, but where those who live in truth can hear the smallest whispers that only I speak in secret. All you need is to keep your heart soft, for that silence is not distance. It is a bridge leading you deeper into the place where I am present. There are moments when life grows so quiet that you feel as though even heaven has turned its face away. Your feet keep moving, your responsibilities still pile upon your shoulders, but inside there is such a stillness that you no longer know whether you are truly living or merely trying to survive. You have whispered to me in your exhaustion, only to feel disappointed when no sign seems to come. You think I am far, think I am indifferent, think you no longer matter to me. But, my child, the silence of heaven is not an empty, uncaring space. It is a room I am preparing for something deeper than you imagine. Silence is not my departure. It is the way I draw you out of the noise that has kept you from hearing the one thing that matters most. There are moments when you also ask yourself, is there something about me that makes you not answer, Lord? You begin to measure your own worth by the number of times I respond to your prayers, as if my love for you depended on your moral performance. But I have never loved you that way. Many times I remain silent simply because you are so eager to hear what you want that you can no longer recognize what you need. I am still standing beside you. It is just that you have turned your ear in another direction. And in every broken, uneven breath you take, I am quietly adjusting the things you would never be calm enough to handle on your own. Remember the prophet Elijah on Mount Horeb, who ran there because he thought he had been abandoned in a life full of threats. He looked for me in the fierce wind, in the quaking of the earth, in the blazing fire signs that are easy to see, easy to hear, and that easily reassure people that God is doing something. But I was not in any of those. I came to him in a gentle whisper, thinner than a breath. After the fire, there was the sound of a gentle breeze. 1 kgs 1912. Do you see? I do not show up in the noisiest moments, but in those when your soul is quiet enough to recognize a presence that makes no clamor and yet is stronger than every upheaval in your life. Do not be quick to judge that silence. The stillness you fear is sometimes the operating room of the soul, where I am gently removing layer after layer of wounds you have grown used to carrying as part of yourself. No sound is heard because I do not want to cause you further pain. I heal in a way so delicate that your senses cannot keep up with it. Only when you look back do you realize you have gone farther, become stronger, grown deeper. You think I am silent because I have abandoned you. In reality, I am silent because I am touching the deepest level that only quiet can heal. If you learn to remain within that silence, you will hear my heartbeat blending with yours. And precisely when you agree to stay, you begin to see that this silence holds something you never dared imagine. I am drawing you away from what is too loud so that you no longer lose the inner call within yourself. Many souls give up right at this stage because they think God no longer cares. But you are different. I am leading you into the land of maturity, where you no longer live by feelings but by a more seasoned trust. From here you will come to see that there are hidden battles and unseen tears that I regard as your most precious records. And when your soul reaches that place, you will understand why I had to use silence to lead you one step deeper. There are things within you that will never be put into words, yet I see them as clearly as daylight. How many times have you tried to keep up a normal rhythm of life, while your heart was utterly exhausted, letting no one know, not wanting anyone to worry, not wanting to become a burden? When you put on a smile in front of others, I see behind it the little battle you just fought before stepping out the door. And even though no one else notices, I bear witness to every tear you hastily wipe away on your sleeve. You think those sacrifices slip away in silence, but they fall straight into my heart like lines of sacred writing. The more quietly you endure, the more I cherish the way you struggle not to collapse. There are also times when you ask yourself, no one sees how hard I try, so why bother? My child, there are rewards that do not come in the form of praise, but in a maturity you yourself hardly notice. The world only looks at what is dazzling. I look at the price you pay to hold on to what is good. When you choose gentleness while your heart wants to erupt in anger, choose to forgive, even though your feelings have not yet healed. Choose to stand up while your legs are still trembling. Those decisions ring out in heaven like clear bells. No one writes them down, but I engrave them in my own heart. Your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. Mot 6:6. Every silence of yours is kept by me, not a single fragment is lost. Do you remember the story of the widow who offered 2 small coins in the temple? No one was looking at her, and many probably despised such an insignificant offering. Yet I said that, of all the people there, she was the one who had given the most. What moved me was not the amount, but a heart that held nothing back for itself. It is the same with you. At times, the only gift you have to offer me is a heavy step or a tear you cannot hold in. But I regard these as more precious than anything, because they come from the deepest place in your soul. I overlook none of your sacrifices, not even the ones you try to hide so as not to trouble anyone. At times you feel it is unjust, because it seems that good people suffer more wounds. But my child, a seed can only sprout in the darkness of the soil, where no one sees the hidden pain of its breaking. I use each trial in your life to push your roots deeper, so that your firmness is not just on the surface. You suffer in silence, but the outcome will not be silent. When the time comes, I will open a door that no one can shut, and all those hidden tears will turn into a light that nothing can cover. The silence of those small efforts is the very music I use to open a new season in your life. And from these hidden battles I want to show you something else, something many hearts still misunderstand. When you are tirelessly trying to make yourself better before coming to me, you are actually blocking the very stream of healing that is flowing toward you. The tears you hide, the quiet sacrifices you keep inside, all of them are proof that you are carrying far too much on your own. I do not want you to be strong only in silence. I want you to open the door and let me step into the very confusion you are always afraid to expose. And from that depth, I will lead you into a brighter place where you no longer have to try on your own to be worthy, but learn to let me do that work in you. There are days when you busy yourself tidying up your inner world as if I were a demanding guest. You sweep your fears into a corner, shove your faults into a locked drawer, force a smile onto your face to prove that you are good enough, clean enough, worthy enough. But I see all of it. I know you are. Not hiding out of malice, but because you are afraid that if I look at that mess, I will leave. You forget that it is precisely that ruin which makes me want to come closer. I do not come to admire a neat room. I come to turn the very place of your greatest chaos into the place where I set my presence down. There are also times when you tell yourself, I will come to God once I have changed a little more. My child, how will you ever change if you keep refusing to let me enter the very place that most needs healing? You spend so much energy covering the parts of yourself you dislike, while I want to step right into the place you feel most ashamed of. You cannot untie the knots you yourself do not even understand. Let me do that. I am not afraid of your disorder. The only thing that saddens me is when you lock your heart and try to do everything alone. You do not realize that my hands touch your chaos more gently than the very hope you are clinging to. Remember the woman caught in adultery who was dragged before me. Everyone wanted to stone her, to condemn her, but I simply bent down and wrote on the ground, and when I looked up I said, neither do I condemn you, Jinn 8:11. I did not require her to wash herself, to straighten up, to appear more virtuous before coming near me. I stood amid the turmoil, amid the accusations, amid her shame, and I chose to stay. What do you think? If I could stand in the midst of such chaos without leaving, do you really believe the turmoil in your heart could drive me away? I come precisely because you are a mess, not because you are perfect. I understand the fear inside you. You are afraid I will be disappointed, afraid I will see that you are not good enough, afraid I will choose someone better. But I do not love you by the standards of a competition. I love you with the faithfulness of the one who created you. If I were only beside you when you were clean, I would never have called your name in the first place. My love is not afraid of dust, not afraid of mud, not afraid of the wounds you hardly dare look at yourself. I want you to bring me into the room you have kept locked for years out of shame. The place you think is the darkest is the very place I will make brightest. And when you dare to open that door, you will feel a new air rushing in such as you have never known before. And then you will realize, the more you strive to clean yourself up in order to be worthy, the farther you drift from me. But when you open the door to me in your most disordered state, you actually touch true healing. The tightness in your chest that you think is mere turmoil is in fact a sign that your soul is being awakened. The tears you cannot explain are actually the clearest way I am knocking. You do not need to wait for peace before seeking me. You only need to bring me into the place that troubles you most. And when you let me in, you will see that the chaos you thought beyond saving becomes the very soil into which I sow my peace. My beloved child, what is taking place in the depths of your heart right now is not just a passing wave of emotion that will soon fade away. This is the moment when your fleeting life touches what never passes, when time is torn open so that I, the Eternal One, can step into your present. Your mind may not understand it all. Your feelings may still flicker, now believing, now doubting. But I want you to know this. You are not just feeling better or a little moved. You are truly standing in the broad atmosphere of my presence. The place where you are sitting, where you are breathing, where your tangled thoughts have just begun to quiet. That very place, because I am here, has become a ground set apart, no longer an ordinary space. And when you allow your heart to open, even by the tiniest crack, my light has already found its way in, touching those dark corners whose names even you are afraid to speak. Do not be overly anxious about whether you feel God enough or whether you are as fervent as others, for I do not measure your love by the intensity of your emotions. I am patiently deepening within you another kind of silence, not the emptiness that frightens you, but the stillness that makes your soul wider and deeper so that it can receive what I long to give. When your outward senses are no longer so noisy, you begin to hear the very subtle movements within. Your heart, a gentle urging, a very small sense of peace, a tear that falls for no clear reason. Do not underestimate those seemingly fragile signs. They are the very language your soul uses to respond to me. Even when you feel clumsy and do not know what to say to me, your simple presence before me is already a full and sufficient answer. Therefore, allow yourself to loosen your grip on the habit of always having to be in control, of always having to do it right, of constantly proving that you are still okay. You do not need to perform for me a polished, edited version of yourself, so tame that it is no longer true. You may stand still, you may let the tears flow, you may simply sit there in silence, you may bow your head, unable to lift your eyes. Every one of those postures, if it flows from a heart that knows its own smallness, is a prayer that I understand completely. What I desire from you is not a beautiful posture in the eyes of others, but a heart that knows it stands before the living God and no longer needs to hide. Remember this, you are not imagining things just to feel less lonely, and you are not merely suggesting to yourself that God must be here. It is truly I, your Creator, who am choosing to draw near, to bend down, to be with you in this very moment. And I do not come as a passing guest who brushes by you and then disappears. My precious little child, I have witnessed countless times when you were so lonely that you no longer knew how to begin a conversation with anyone, and all you could do was turn your face to the wall or bury your head in a pillow and fall silent. Others may see you still walking around, still working, still smiling, but I am the one who sees the nights when you turn over for the 10th time and still cannot sleep. I was there when you whispered a very short sentence, not even a complete one, only a choked "Lord" stuck in your throat. To you, that may have felt like nothing more than a sigh, but to me, it was a cry that reached all the way to the heights of heaven, enough to turn the gaze of heaven toward you. I do not merely hear as someone standing far away. I feel the anxious beating of your heart. I understand the unnamed fears you cannot put into words. I touch the humiliation you hide away in the deepest layers of your memory. You would never imagine that every time you let your pain show, even if only in a single hurried tear, a sob you try to stifle, or a moment when you sit stunned, unable to do anything, the spiritual heavens around you are shaken. It is not because you have done anything great, but because I have bound my heart to yours. When you hurt, I do not stand still. When you weep, my heart is moved. In the invisible world, what you endure in silence does not fall into a void. I receive it as drops of oil being poured upon the altar. You may only see a pair of swollen red eyes in the mirror, but I see an offering rising from the depths of your soul. And from those offerings, I am weaving a new journey for you, slow, but steady and sure, one that no one will ever be able to snatch from your hands. I have never required you to shout until your voice turns hoarse before I am willing to listen. I have never demanded that you memorize a long list of prayer formulas or quote every word perfectly before your prayer is good enough to catch my attention. I am not a harsh judge scoring your phrasing. I am a father. A father only needs to hear his child speak honestly. If all you can manage is a whisper, "I'm so tired," I receive it as a complete and perfect prayer. If all you can say is, "I don't understand what is happening," I regard it as your heart opening to let me in. If you cannot say anything at all, and only look at me with lost and wandering eyes, I already know what you need. What draws my heart is not the polish of your words, but the sincerity of the soul standing behind them. In those corners of your life where you think no one cares, the evening rides home alone, the rushed meals you eat just to get through the day, the moments you scroll on your phone simply to forget, a long, exhausting day, I am still quietly at your side. There are times when you have just finished a very small act of kindness that no one notices, a patient silence, a seat you give up, a word you choose not to say so as not to wound another. You do it, and then you forget, but I remember. I keep those moments as one cherishes old photographs. I store them in my memory of you as part of the story that you and I are writing together. To me, those quiet moments of faithfulness are more precious than any performance paraded before the eyes of the world. I know there have been times when you have silently complained. I've prayed, but what has really changed? You see your circumstances apparently unchanged, other people seemingly no better, the pressure still there, and you conclude that your prayer has had no effect. But my child, the first thing that is changed each time you open your heart to me is not the world outside of you, but the world within you. Every time you choose to speak truthfully to me, a heavy layer is lifted from your soul. Every time you dare to bring your shame into my presence, an invisible chain around your mind is loosened. You do not notice it because these movements are not loud, not dramatic, not like what movies portray. But if you look back over the path you have traveled, you will see that you are less bitter than before, less afraid, less distrustful of yourself. Those are the fingerprints of my hand, gentle, yet powerful, quietly at work in your life. Today, as you stand here before me, I do not only wish to comfort you with a few words and then send you back to the same old rhythm, the same old ways, the same burdens, the same loneliness. I have come to establish something new in our relationship. I want you to believe that you can return to me many times a day, not only in very solemn moments, not only when you think you are clean and worthy. You can meet me in the kitchen while washing dishes, on the way to work when your mind is still foggy, during your lunch break when you do not know whom to confide in. Just a small turning of your heart, "Lord, I am still here, and I know you are too," is enough to remind you that you are not walking alone. I am not reluctant to enter the 1,000 ordinary moments of your day. I am only waiting for you to open even the smallest crack for me, and I want you to carry what you are sensing now as a reminder. You do not need to produce my presence. You only need to learn to recognize that I am already there. When you stumble, come back immediately. Do not wait until you feel less bad before you dare to return. When you lose your temper, when you utter words that wound another, come into my heart and weep. Do not run away in shame. When you feel too clumsy, too weak, too stuck in your old mistakes, let me embrace all that helplessness. I do not leave you because of those stains. I draw closer to wash them away with my very love for you. If you learn to come to me just as you are, and not only after you have fixed everything, you will slowly understand what salvation truly is. Not that you save yourself and then present yourself to me, but that you allow me to save you right in the very state you are in. So then, little one, do not be frightened by what is awakening inside you today. The stirrings, the memories, the tears, even the fears you cannot yet name, these are not signs that you are getting weaker, but signs that your heart is softening before me. A softened heart is good soil for the seed of grace. That seed I have already sown long ago, and only now is it pushing through the surface more clearly. All you need to do is keep being honest. Keep letting me see everything exactly as it is. Keep coming back no matter how many times you fall. The rest, leave to me. I am still here, not walking away halfway, not disappointed in you, not calculating losses and gains with you. I am here to love you to the very end. And every moment you turn back to me, like this very moment, is a small eternity opening up within your life. Did you know that from the moment you allowed me to enter, the whole inner world within you trembled softly like a lake once thought to be dead and still, suddenly stirred by fresh water flowing in? I see the deepest place in you, that place where you have always assumed I would turn my face away if I saw all the chaos there. But no, it is precisely that darkness that I choose as the place to set my first footprint. Do you realize this, my child? That my love does not first seek the tidy, bright, easy places to touch. It goes straight into the depths you timidly hide, the corners where even you do not dare linger too long. I have entered their light as breath, patient as the sun waiting for dawn, not forcing you to open the door, yet not leaving just because you are afraid. How many times have you thought you were too wretched, too exhausted, too much of a failure to be noticed by me at all? Yet I see in you what you have never had time to recognize in yourself, the longing to live in truth, to lay down the stiff mask that life has forced you to wear, to be yourself again, a child, still carrying the tenderness I placed in you from the beginning of creation. I have never loved you because you were strong. I love you because you belong to me. And the more you try to hide the parts you consider weak, the more clearly I hear those very places crying out for help, like a wound that does not bleed but throbs with every heartbeat. But the moment you crack your heart open, even just a little, I immediately slip into that space with my presence, not loud, not showy, just close enough for you to sense me, but not so overwhelming that you are afraid. Those times when you feel mysteriously upheld without knowing whose hand is holding you, it is my hand. Those times when you find yourself strangely calmed in the middle of the night, without understanding why your anxiety has eased, it is I kneeling by your bedside, placing my hand upon your mind and whispering until the storm within you grows still. You have walked through many battles that no one else has known about. You have dragged yourself up from nights so dark you thought you would never make it through. I know. I have seen it all. I do not stand far away watching like a distant, unfamiliar God. I stand right beside you, sometimes so close that you can hardly tell the difference between the beating of your own heart and the call of my voice. I see you trying to be strong for the people you love. See you gritting your teeth so you will not trouble anyone. See you swallowing your tears to preserve the peaceful image others expect from you. But does anyone know that deep inside you, each of those efforts costs you a portion of strength you have had to gather bit by bit? You think I only see your smile, but I have seen the price of that smile. I have seen the words you wanted to say but forced yourself to swallow, the moments when you longed to collapse but kept standing upright, the inner battles no one hears, that you still have to walk through alone. My child, you no longer have to carry all of this by your own strength. I do not wait for you to become stable before I come near. I am already beside you, even when you are shattered. Do you know why I choose to remain close to your brokenness? Because only there do you finally stop performing, stop defending yourself, stop trying to play the role of the strong one. There you become honest, become small, become truly yourself, and it is that true self that I love most. I do not want you to come before me with a carefully arranged face, with a rehearsed prayer voice, with polished words while your soul is empty. I want you to come as you are, with the tangles you have not yet unraveled, the pains you do not yet know how to name, the questions that have found no way out. Do you know what I treasure most in you? Your courage when you dare to be truthful. I do not love perfection. I love truth. I know you have been afraid that if I saw all the ugly parts inside you, I would leave you. You have thought that I draw close only to those whose lives are straight and orderly, that I enter only the souls that are neatly arranged. But, my child, I am standing right beside the places you do not dare invite anyone into. I walk into the darkest room of your heart, where you hide the memories you do not want to recall, where you lock away fears that keep repeating, where you store wounds that have not yet healed. When I step into that place, I do not condemn, I do not reproach, I do not ask why you have not changed yet. I come simply to gather each fragment of your soul, to breathe warmth into the regions you thought had frozen over, to place my own heart in the very place where yours is lacking. I do not expect you to become worthy before you come to me. I want you to come precisely when you feel the most unworthy. I want you to bring me what you are most ashamed of, what haunts you the most, what you do not dare to touch. You have thought you had to clean everything up by yourself before daring to meet me, but you did not realize that the very moment you try to handle everything alone is the moment you are farthest from me. The more you strain to muster your own strength to fix yourself, the more firmly you bolt the door I long to walk through. My child, I am not afraid of your mess. I only fear that you will think I despise you because of it. I am not afraid of your old wounds. I only fear that you will not allow me to touch them. I am not afraid of your crooked, stumbling prayers. I only fear that you will not open your mouth because you think I will be disappointed. There have been many times when you suddenly felt a gentle stream of strength arise within you, and you did not know where it came from. That is when I was lifting you up. There are moments when you find yourself growing calm in the midst of your most stressful days, that is, my hand resting upon your heart. There are times when you thought you had no tears left to cry, and yet a few still fell, and strangely your heart felt just a little lighter. That is when I was carrying part of the sorrow you have borne for far too long. I do not come in thunder. I do not come with dazzling wonders that overwhelm you. I come through the smallest yet truest shifts within your soul. I do not move in circles around your life. I enter all the way into it. I want you to see this more clearly than ever. You do not need to try even one more second to become good enough for me. You do not need to brace yourself to keep up an appearance of being fine. You do not need to suppress your feelings for fear that I will be disappointed. I am the one who saw you long before you learned to see yourself. I have watched you fall, fail, wander, and grow weak, and I still chose you. Not after you had corrected yourself, but before you even began to try. Do you know why I will never abandon you? Because my love for you is not based on what you can accomplish, but on what I decided from eternity. You belong to me. So, my child, let me step into the most chaotic place within you. Let me arrange what you cannot put in order on your own. Let me heal the parts of you you do not dare to touch. Let me speak to you the words you have not dared to believe all this time. You are not alone. I am here, right now, in the deepest room of your soul, and I will not leave until everything in you has been healed in my peace. So now, sit with me for a while, like a child nestling close beside their father and setting everything else aside, so that only our conversation remains. I know there is still a tiny corner in your heart where you wonder whether your voice has enough worth to reach the heights of heaven, whether it matters enough for a mighty being like me to listen. I see those questions even when you have never spoken them aloud. I feel those hesitations even when your lips wear only a strained smile and polite words to the world. I do not blame you for those hesitations. I only want you to know this. From the very moment you appeared in the stream of time, not a single breath of yours has ever been meaningless to me. Every time you close your eyes, not knowing what to say, yet still lifting your heart and whispering, Lord, even if no further words follow, I receive that cry as a complete prayer. You think you are speaking into empty space, but in truth you are touching my heart, where every small sigh of yours finds a resting place. I have listened to you far more than you imagine, my child. I hear you, even when you do not dare to pray out loud for fear of being judged. So, you only speak quietly to me in the bathroom, on the bus, at the corner of your desk, or in the depths of the night when everyone else is asleep. I hear you even when you do not use the proper religious words, when you simply talk to me as to a friend. I'm so tired, I'm so scared, I'm so lost. Then you feel silly and fall silent again. To people, those might sound like random mutterings. To me, they are deeply honest words, signals that show you are still turning your face toward me, even while your heart is tangled. I also hear you when you say nothing at all, when all you can do is let out a long, deep sigh and look up at the ceiling or into the darkness wondering, I don't know if the Lord sees this. I see it all. I hear even what you cannot put into words. I read the pain in the tears you wipe away with the back of your hand, in the messages you type then delete, in the harsh sentences you swallow back to keep from hurting someone else. All of this, to me, is speech. My little child, do not think that because you do not preach well, or pray with powerful language, or use lofty phrases, your voice carries less value before me. In this world, people easily admire loud words, impressive speeches, prayers proclaimed in front of crowds, but I incline my heart toward the faintest cries, the clumsy confessions that only I hear. When you say to me, I don't even know where to begin, I just want to be here with you for a while, in that very moment the sky deep within your soul is already opening. I do not measure your faith by the length of your prayers. I look at the places where you allow me to enter, even if it is only a very small crack. That very smallness moves me deeply, because it shows that amid all you have to worry about, you still keep a space reserved just for me. You have many times thought you were abandoned, because no one asked how you were, no one recognized the burdens you were quietly carrying. But, my child, in my sight, not a single effort of yours slips away into meaninglessness. Every morning you get out of bed, though the night before you cried your pillow wet. Every time you keep fulfilling your duties when you feel you have no strength left. Every moment you choose gentleness instead of pouring out your anger. Choose silent prayer instead of bitter words. All of these become lines in the record of your life before me. I do not write down outward achievements. I record each small choice you make when no one is watching, when people only see results. I see the hidden battles you endure to preserve a clear gaze, a heart that has not grown numb, a sliver of hope that keeps you from collapsing at once. You see yourself as weak, but right in that weakness I see the true beauty of your soul. I want you to picture this. Every word you whisper to me, every tear you shed in silence, every time you try to rise again when no one knows, each one is like a raindrop falling into the cup I am holding in my hand. At first you think they are just a few scattered drops, hardly worth anything, but through the years that cup fills up, and when the day comes that it overflows, I myself will use that water to pour over your life and over the lives of those you love. There are many things you are sowing today that you will not reap immediately, but I will not allow a single seed sown with your tears to die in vain. You may think you are merely getting through the days, but on a deeper level, I am using each of those days to write a story no one else can write in your place. Every time you return to me in the quiet, you are adding another line to that story. Many times you have compared yourself to others and thought, God surely hears their prayers, but as for mine, you forget that I show no favoritism, that I do not prioritize the louder voices. I am moved only by hearts that come to me in simplicity. Some bring before me carefully crafted words, some offer me beautiful songs, and that is good when it flows from love. But I am just as delighted when one of my children can say nothing more than, Lord, I'm here, and then simply sit with me. Your very presence is already a gift to me. Often you do not need to say much at all. You only need to show me that you are not running away, not shutting the door, not hiding from me any longer. That choice to remain, for me, is already a mighty word. I know that at times a feeling rises up in your heart. My voice is so small. Surely it cannot move anything in heaven. You think the problems of this world are too big, and your own worries are too small. But my child, I do not count souls by the size of their problems. I love each person with the fullness of my heart. If I am able to number every hair on your head, how could I possibly overlook the things that make your heart ache? I lean down to listen even to the whispers you yourself are not aware you just uttered. Sometimes you let slip a, "Oh God," out of habit, yet I still receive it as a cry for help, and I respond, not with blame, but with small circumstances that you think are coincidence, while in truth they are, my hand gently leading you. My child, I want you to begin to believe in the weight that your voice carries before me. When you choose to speak to me about your fears instead of letting them grow unchecked in silence, you are opening a door for me to come in. When you tell me about your shame, about the mistakes you dare not share with anyone, you are allowing me to touch the places you have always kept locked away. When you bring your why questions before me, even with a tone of anger or exhaustion, it is still better than turning your back in silence and deciding on your own that I am no longer there. I am big enough to hear even your complaints against me. I am not afraid of the truth in your heart. I only grieve when you choose to be silent with me while pouring out your soul in places that can never truly heal you. Remember this: I do not grow tired of your story, even when you have told it 100 times in different forms. You may see yourself as annoying, repetitive, weak, but I do not. To me, every time you return is a new moment. I do not say, "Is it this issue again?" I say, "Thank you for choosing to come back to me." I do not count the number of times you stumble in order to accuse you. I count the number of times you still decide to run back to me instead of giving up. With every such moment, the cord between you and me is strengthened, not because you have become better, but because you allow me to love you more deeply. And from today onward, I long for you to begin living with a new conviction. Your voice has a place before me, even when it is small, trembling, or unfinished. You do not need to wait until you have become more worthy before daring to speak to me. The very act of daring to speak while your heart is still in turmoil, of daring to come while your tears have not yet dried, of daring to return while so many things remain unresolved, that is the sign that your faith is alive, not dead. I will use every word you utter and every silent moment you spend beside me to gradually loosen the knots that have bound you for so many years. One day, you yourself will be astonished to realize that those moments when you thought you were speaking into an endless void were actually the times you were closest to hearing the heartbeat of the one who has never stopped loving you. So, next time your heart feels heavy and your hand reaches for your phone to look for some place to complain, I long for you to do something different. Put it down, take a deep breath, and speak to me first. You do not need to polish your words. You do not need to pretend to be strong or wise. You only need to be honest. Lord, here I am. This is what is happening inside me. The door of conversation between you and me is never closed. It is only your heart that sometimes shuts itself because it fears rejection. But I have never rejected you, and I will not begin to do so today. I am still here, patiently waiting for every word you speak, every breath you take, to turn them all into a bridge that draws you toward the source of life you have been searching for all this time. One day, when you look back, you will understand. It was not the loud moments that kept you alive, but the quiet conversations with me in the night that kept your soul from breaking. I listen intently to the words you speak in your most solitary moments, my child, the sincere outpouring of your spirit, raised up when no human ear is near, carries a weight beyond measure in my sight, because it is the cries born out of deep pain that truly shake the unseen realm. Even when you feel as though I am silent, I am still answering you in ways your senses have not yet perceived. Before your eyes opened, this very morning, my beloved child, I was already there, waiting for this very meeting, preparing the moments we would spend together. Before the burdens of daily life had time to press once more upon your soul, I had already laid out the path of each hour of your day. Nothing you face today will ever catch me off guard, not your weariness, not your failures, not even that familiar, smoldering sadness you quietly carry with you. My child, many times you think you are walking alone through a dense cloud of tangled thoughts, but I am following the rhythm of your every heartbeat, like a father walking right beside a small child feeling its way through the dark. Do you know what grieves me most? Not the wounds you bear, not the areas where you are still weak, but the fact that you believe I only want to see you in a spotless, finished, strong version. In truth, it is precisely those moments of Confusion, those minutes when you are holding back tears so that no one will know you are trembling, that make me want to gather you into my arms more than ever. You do not need to hide anything from me. I do not seek a polished strength on the surface. I seek the gasping honesty within, the weaker. Your soul feels. The closer I want to stand so that you can lean on me, for I myself created you with the capacity to feel, to be wounded, to stumble, and I also created you with the capacity to rise again through me. There are things you think you must handle alone, overcome alone, prove by yourself that you are strong enough. Yet you do not realize that the very burdens you are trying so hard to hold together, so no one will see them, are what make your heart taste bitterness every night. You want to be clean before you meet me, while I want to meet you right in the middle of your mess. You want to be strong so that you will not disappoint me, while I have never required you to look strong at all. The more you try to hide, the more exhausted you become. The more you brace yourself, the more your soul runs dry. Let me say this clearly. I did not come to admire a neatness you built on your own. I came to turn your chaos into a place radiant with my presence. And, my child, I see very clearly that deepest place you have always hidden away in the locked box of your inner being, the things you have never spoken out loud, the memories that make you turn your face away, the mistakes that make you feel unworthy. You do not need to conceal them from me. I have known them all since before you called me Father. What you consider stains, I consider doors through which you can find your way back to me. What you call failures, I see as places where I can sow my mercy. You fear I will leave you if I see everything, but you do not realize that it is precisely those things you label ugly that stir my desire to be closer to you. For the love I have for you is never afraid of wounds. I myself have borne far deeper wounds so that you might be free. My child, I want you to understand that even in the very moments when you feel most helpless, I still look at you as my treasure. You may view yourself with harsh, critical eyes, but I look at you with the gaze of the one who formed you. I see your potential. I see what you can become. I see all that I have planted in your heart that you yourself have not yet recognized. I see the quiet efforts you have never spoken of. I hear the sighs you do not dare express. I take note of every small act of kindness you choose, while your own heart is still not fully healed. Not one of these things is small to me. The more you believe you are insignificant, the more I want you to know that you have never lost your value in my eyes. Many times you think that the turmoil within you is a sign that you have drifted far from me, yet you do not realize that this very unrest is sometimes my invitation, an invitation to stop, to open the door, to let me enter the room you have locked because you fear being seen. I do not demand that you put yourself back in order before opening that door. I want to step in with you, to untie each knot with you, to wipe away each tear with you, to heal each wound with you. You think you must be whole before you meet me, but you do not know that I alone am the one who makes you whole. I do not love you because you are clean. I love you, and therefore I make you clean. Healing does not come from erasing all traces of pain. It comes from allowing me to touch that pain. My child, I want you to know that you are not the messy room you see. You are the temple I have chosen to dwell in. The confusion is only the dust of time. I have not come to scold you for letting dust settle. I have come to help you clean it away, layer by layer. I do not come to say, how could you let things become this bad? I come to say, let me in. Let me start over with you. You are not alone in those dark corners. I am there, before you, with you, and for you. And then you will realize that the chaos you tried so hard to hide is precisely the place where I have been working, most powerfully. You think peace comes when everything is tidy, but true peace comes when I am present. You think light appears when you are flawless, but true light appears when you allow me to open the door. You think strength comes when you can stand firm, but true strength comes when you fall into my arms without fearing your own weakness. My beloved child, I have never left you, not even for a single heartbeat. Even when you turn your back, I am still standing behind you, arms open, waiting for you to return. It is not that I need you, it is you who need me, and I will always be there for you to find me. I am not angry with you for the days you have been far from me. I am only sorrowful that you think I no longer want to see you. But believe this, my door is never locked to you. You need only the lightest touch, and even when you no longer have the strength to pray, even if all you can manage is a faint breath that calls my name, I will be there in that very instant. And my child, I want you to step into something deeper. Never think that you must be worthy before you can draw near to me. It is precisely when you see yourself at your worst that I see you closest to me. Because in that moment there is no mask left between you and me. I come to save, not to score you. I come to hold you, not to evaluate you. I come to heal, not to condemn. You belong to me, even in the state you consider your worst. You are mine even before you manage to do anything good, and I will go on calling you, go on seeking you, go on loving you until you know that there is no place safer than my arms. My beloved child, do you think it is only by chance that you sense that call? No, it is not by accident that you hear that stirring, gentle as a breeze, within your soul. It is I who am touching the deepest part of you, the part you have tried to hide from everyone, and sometimes even from yourself. I chose this very moment, not when the noise of life is crowding around you, but when your heart is just tired enough to stop resisting, just quiet enough to hear what your soul has longed for all this time but has not dared to name. All of it is within. My arrangement from the way your breath grows softer to the stillness you first mistook for emptiness. I have placed you in this very moment because there is something I want to bring into the light, something that all your years of running, all your efforts just to survive, all your scrambling to stay standing, can no longer cover up. You are always within my gaze, from those rare, glorious moments to the minutes when you collapse alone. I see you more clearly than you see yourself in the mirror each morning. I see the doubts you dare not admit, the tiny longings you bury deep because you fear more pain, the way your hands tremble as you try to hold on to things that are slipping out of your life. Even if the world belittles you, even if others forget your presence, even if opportunities pass you by as though you were unworthy of them, still you have never, not for a single second, fallen out of my remembrance. I do not move according to human forgetfulness. What belongs to me is etched by me for all eternity. Your essence does not drift along the river of time like something fleeting. You are woven out of my thoughts, out of intention, out of a love that no power can erode. You are not just a tiny speck among countless creatures. You are a name I call with a voice that is uniquely my own, a person I care for in ways you yourself do not even know I have used. Every wound you carry, every whisper you utter in the dark, every time you sit still to recover a little peace, all of it I keep, like precious fragments that belong to you. The moment you are living right now is not a random gentleness meant merely to soften your weary heart. It is a mark, a clear proof that your place in me has never changed, has never been shaken by the mistakes or weaknesses you have gone through. Your identity bound to me is not measured by success, not defined by human opinion, and even less affected by the times you stumble. You belong to me in a way no hand can pull away, no event can strip from you, no fear can swallow up. You think loneliness is abandonment, but for me, loneliness is the place where I can speak with you without interruption. I do not create loneliness as a punishment, but as a closed room where you finally withdraw from the things that only fill the surface while hollowing out the deepest parts of you. When you have nowhere left to run, when what you used to cling to can no longer hold you, when every other voice falls silent, then you begin to hear me. I do not leave you in the dark. I place you there so that my light may become unmistakable, and every silent moment, every sigh you think no one hears, is drawing you nearer to me in ways you do not expect. Do you know why at times you feel an unnamed emptiness inside? It is because you were created to belong to me. So when you place your hope in what is temporary, your soul will always feel a little ill at ease. As if wearing shoes that do not fit, you try to fit yourself into relationships that cannot sustain you. Try to find peace in supports that easily shake. Strain yourself to feel valuable in the eyes of others. Yet, in the end, you return to that original emptiness. It is not because you are wrong, but because you are using things that are never big enough to fill a space only I can fill. You have not lost yourself. You are simply being led back to where you belong. I know you have gone through many things that made it hard for you to believe you could be loved. Completely. Wounded, judged, misunderstood, compared, abandoned. Such things have made you shrink back. Learn to lower your expectations. Learn not to need too much, so you will not be too disappointed. But I do not love you the way life has loved you. The love of this world comes because you have something. My love comes because you are you. When you are weak, I still love. When you are confused, I still hold you. When you are afraid, I still stand right beside you. My faithfulness does not change with the fluctuations of your feelings, and still less with what people say. And I want you to understand this. I do not wait for you to become tidy before I draw near. I step in precisely when you are most tangled, and that very fact proves that you are called, not coincidental. The gentle urging you feel in your heart, light as a breeze, is not a fleeting emotion. It is my voice inviting you to step out of the spiral of fear, of self-doubt, of needing to prove yourself. I do not summon you with thunder. I call you with gentleness, so that your soul is not shaken in terror but awakened. There is nothing about you that I am unable to heal. There is no chaos that makes me hesitate. There is no past heavy enough to make me turn away. You think you must overcome everything before you can come to me, but the truth is that I am the one who helps you overcome. I do not wait for you to step out of the storm. I step into it because you are in it. You do not need to build me a perfect house in your heart. I love the very wilderness you carry within, because the moment I am present there, it becomes holy ground. And listen, my dear one, what you are living through is not as meaningless as you think. Every lump in your throat, every time you try to stand up just a little more, every morning you open your eyes though you feel you have no strength left, these are all signs that your soul has not given up. I have placed in you an endurance you do not even know you possess, because I have always known you were made to be stronger than your fear, deeper than your wounds, and higher than your own doubts. You cannot see the whole process, but I see the ending completely. Do not worry that you have gone too far or have been late for too long. I do not measure time in minutes and seconds. I measure it by the awakening of a soul. And today, in this very moment, your soul has stepped into another realm of light. You are being called, being reminded, being pulled back from the weariness that is dragging you down, and nothing can stop me from completing what I have begun in you. Therefore, do not run from that inner urging. Do not smother it with familiar busyness. Do not bury it beneath your old worries. Sit with me. Let me open your heart not to accuse you, but so that you may see that you have never been abandoned. I am always here, persistent, patient, waiting for you to look up. You are not lost. You are found. You are called by name. You belong to me. And from this moment on, you will know that everything you once thought was loss was in fact only the road I used to bring you home. Let your heart be truly still in this moment, for I am about to tell you what you have longed for years to hear, yet have never been quiet enough to receive. You often think I am absent whenever sadness lays over your eyes like a mist, but no, my child, not for a single moment have I let go of your hand. I have walked with you up every steep hill, along every stretch of road where you yourself did not understand how you were still moving. Forward, when your heart sinks under nameless anxieties, when your feet keep walking on by habit while your mind is crowded with fears you cannot even put into words. It is I who have kept your legs from collapsing entirely. There were times you thought you survived by your own strength alone, but you did not know that in those minutes when you were gasping in despair, that faint warmth you sensed was my hand supporting your exhaustion. Whenever your soul trembles before choices you cannot tell are right or wrong, I stand behind you, gently turning you, so you do not stray into the very darkness you fear. I know you hesitate to admit your weakness. I know you have grown used to leaning on your own resilience, yet no shadowed place in your heart has ever driven me away. On the contrary, it is there that I am closest, for I see what your eyes cannot see. You often mistake my silence for neglect, but you do not realize that the times when I do not speak are the very times I am doing the most. I have been standing in the middle of your inner world, a world full of closed rooms, of memories you dare not touch, of feelings you hide because you think they should not exist. I touch each of those dark corners with the patience of a craftsman restoring a cracked treasure. I do not rush you. I do not blame you for being slow. I do not demand that you become stronger at once. I only wait until you are peaceful enough to see what I am doing. Those footsteps you cannot hear in your long, sleepless nights are mine as I rearrange the pathways inside your soul, removing the small, heavy stones you have carried so long you no longer feel how they press on your heart. The moments you think you are empty are when I am pouring back into you what life has drained away. The times you sit in stillness without knowing why you are sad are when I am picking up each broken piece you have dropped over the years and fitting them back together into the shape I designed for you from the very beginning. I know the questions you keep hidden in your heart, the questions you do not dare to voice because you fear the answers might hurt you even more. Quietly you wonder, does God still remember me? Do I still have worth in His eyes? Am I still being led, or have I been left behind? You have come to believe that when you hear nothing, it surely means that nothing is being given to you anymore. But my child, listen to me in the stillness of your soul. Every moment you thought you were forgotten has been exactly when I was giving you my undivided attention. I have been giving you a protection you did not recognize. I have blocked what would have drained you completely. I have turned you away from paths that would have caused you to lose yourself. I have delayed what you thought you wanted in order to guard what truly belongs to you. All of this has unfolded so quietly that you have called it silence, but in reality, it has been my voice speaking in ways your ears are not yet accustomed to hear. You have often thought that the quiet tears you shed in the night mean nothing. You have assumed that only great events, dazzling turning points, and visible miracles are worthy of heaven's attention. Yet, do you know this? I have gathered every tear you considered pointless, every small trembling of your hand as you tried to go on, every sigh you suppressed so that no one would hear. I hold them in my hands as sacred testimonies of your perseverance. I read the deep meaning in each movement you dismiss as ordinary. When you choose kindness while your own heart is wounded, when you choose to endure while you are in pain, when you struggle to stand firm even though no one understands what you are going through. These things, which seem unseen by anyone, are the very jewels I use to lay the foundation for the next steps on your path. And precisely because I see every one of these small things so clearly, I know that you are ready for what I am preparing. You think I want you to tidy yourself up to perfection before you dare come close to me, but that has never been true. I do not ask you to hide the shattered pieces inside. I do not require you to become a spotless, polished version of yourself before you may enter my presence. I want you to give me even the parts of you you are most ashamed of, the parts you are sure I would reject. What you do not yet understand is that it is precisely those parts that call me closest to you. I want you to let me step into the messy space you have been trying to clean up on your own. I want you to open the door to me right where you have kept it shut for so many years, convinced no one could ever touch that place. It is not because I wish to gaze upon your worst, but because I want to transform that very chaos into holy ground where I set my feet and rebuild everything from the beginning. The silence that once frightened you, now it is time for you to see its true nature. It has not been a wall separating you from me, but a thin veil behind, which I have been working on the most delicate matters of your life without overwhelming you. I have intentionally kept that quiet space so that you could be safe in the process of being healed. Like a meticulous craftsman, I have been adjusting each thought, each wound, each crease in your soul, without making a sound. I do not want you to hurt more. I do not want you to panic. I do not want you to believe you have been abandoned. But now, as that process nears its completion, the distance is shrinking, the fog is lifting, and light is slowly flooding the place that used to be filled only with turmoil. You are stepping into a season in which my presence will no longer be merely something you must believe, but something you will see, will feel, and will touch. You need to know this. I do not comfort you with words alone. I am coming to you in my very being, with a power no force can hinder, with a nearness your soul will not be able to mistake. What once made you uneasy will gradually become clear. What once threw you into confusion will come into the light. What you once feared to face will become the very place where I first set my feet. And from that ground, I will raise you up stronger than you have ever been. Not because you are perfect, but because you have allowed me to enter. Not because you healed yourself, but because you let me heal you. Not because you are strong enough, but because you have let me be your strength. All that I have done in the quiet is now about to become the firm foundation for the new stage I am unfolding before you. As you step into this season, you will understand why I remained silent so long, why I delayed the things you once longed for so impatiently, why I did not answer at once the tear-soaked prayers you prayed. You will see every scattered piece fall into place with a perfection that only God could arrange. You will realize that not a single moment of your life has been wasted. Everything has been used to lead you to this very time, the time when I reveal myself, the time when I lay my hand upon you openly, the time when you recognize that I have never been far from you, not even for a single breath. And now, my child, what I have prepared in secret, I am about to make clear before your eyes in ways you can truly experience. Let your heart open. Do not be afraid. This moment is yours, and I am here not merely to assure you that I am near, but to prove it by the very presence that is surrounding you. This will be the beginning of a path you have never walked before, but I have gone ahead of you, prepared it, and am waiting for you to step into it. Oh, my beloved child, what you are feeling now is not the end of your endurance or the limit of your resilience, but the moment when a new door is gently opening within your soul, a door you never thought you would be able to step through. I know your body is still unsteady as it learns to adjust to this change, like soil long parched that suddenly feels the moisture of the first rain of the season, confused, surprised, but not afraid. For deep in the innermost layers of your soul, where no one else has ever been able to reach, you have already known, already perceived, already heard the rhythm of my approach. You sense it, not with your reasoning mind, but with the faint trembling of that part of you I formed with my very breath. There are stirrings you cannot explain with words, inner flashes of light that are not attached to any outward event. Yet it is precisely these quiet things that are the clearest signs of me. They do not disturb you. On the contrary, they make you feel as though you are being awakened from a sleep that has gone on too long. This is not instability. It is life beginning to bud within you after a bitter winter that seemed it would never end. I have stepped into the deepest corner of your life, the place you once believed unworthy of my presence, and with me have come currents of change spreading through every hidden space of your heart. None of my actions are careless or random. Every movement I make is led by a love far beyond any calculation you have ever known. Your whole being is responding, even though your mind has not yet found the language to name what is happening. I am renewing the atmosphere around you, not with loud, violent storms, but with gentle adjustments at the roots where the natural eye cannot see, yet the heart can feel. I do not come by making mountains and hills tremble, but by causing your soul to tremble with my presence. My actions are quiet but never small. They slip into places you believed had grown too barren ever to live again. I am entering the empty spaces you have always feared and filling them with my own light. My child, this is not imagination painting comforting illusions, nor is it a passing emotion meant only to carry you through a weak moment. This is my truth revealing itself in a way that is not noisy, in a way that only hearts willing to be still can recognize. I do not only act in the vast heights of the universe, I am also revealing myself in the small atmosphere surrounding you, right in the room where you have wept, have trembled, have tried to curl in on yourself so that no one would see your weakness. It is this very place, not some grand cathedral, that I have chosen as the space in which to move. Your circumstances are changing, not because the world outside has suddenly become easier, but because I, the one who is always present, am standing right in the middle of that turmoil and breathing my peace into it. Do you perceive what I am doing? You have grown used to fixing yourself, to tidying up the inner chaos on your own before you dare open the door of your heart. But now, as I step in, change no longer comes from your effort or determination, but from my power seeping into the very parts you thought could never change. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I show up. It is precisely because you are not perfect that I come. I want you to know that the dark places you have avoided, the deep wounds, the failures you are too ashamed even to mention, the corners you have tried every way to cover, those are the very places I choose to place my first steps. I am not calling you out of the chaos so that you can present me with a polished version of yourself. I am entering that chaos myself so that I may be the one who cleanses it, who heals it, who turns it into holy ground. Do not be quick to think that you are being changed too fast or that you are losing control. You are not losing control. You are giving it back to me, the one who understands your heart better than anyone. I am removing, layer by layer, the heavy coverings you have worn just to appear all right. I am lifting off your shoulders the burdens you were never created to carry. I am restoring freedom to your soul, and true freedom never begins with shouts and fanfare. It always starts as a very small, very quiet movement that is nevertheless powerful enough to transform everything that follows. You cannot see the whole picture. You only see patches of light and shadow, interwoven, and at times that frightens you. But I see from the beginning to the completion, and I know exactly each step that will lead you to the place I have appointed for you. I do not rush you, nor do I force you. I lead you gently, so that your heart learns to trust where the wind is coming from and to know upon whom to lean when everything else feels unsure. Can you sense it? That in those moments when it seems as though nothing is happening, in truth, everything is in motion. A new life is quietly threading its way beneath the surface of your soul, like the roots of a tree reaching down into the earth before it breaks through as a green shoot. Every movement appears slow, but it is slow in order to be deep, and deep in order to endure. I do not create bursts of fireworks just to trick your emotions. I am laying foundations for you to remain standing, even on the days when you can no longer clearly feel me. When you become still, you will realize that I am digging deeper, not moving away. I am reinforcing your strength, not abandoning you in your weakness. I am drawing you out of the hurried expectations the world has placed on you so that you may learn to walk in my rhythm, a rhythm that is slow and gentle, yet utterly sure. My child, it is my presence itself that changes your circumstances. It is not that you must try harder, not that you must become stronger, not that you must be holier before I can touch you. I am not looking in you for perfection. I am looking for openness. I am not looking in you for success. I am looking for a heart that knows how to sink to its knees when it is weary and knows how to call my name when it is weak. I do not demand that you become worthy in order to be loved. I love you so that you may become truly worthy. My presence is the gift sufficient to transform everything, even when nothing on the outside seems to change. When I dwell within, the storms outside lose their power to decide. When I dwell within, your lack becomes the place where I reveal my abundance. When I dwell within, the dark corners that once made you tremble become the dwelling place of my light, and you will see this even more clearly as you continue to walk with me. Your circumstances are changed not because you have found a way to control your life, but because my presence is renewing your every breath. I transform the inner space before you have time to notice the results on the outside. I touch your motives, your emotions, your deep wounds, your hidden expectations, the fears you have never dared to speak to anyone. I do this not with shouting, nor with showy miracles, but with a gentleness that causes your soul to melt in ways you never expected. What you are feeling now is not a passing reaction. It is my life merging with your life. Therefore, do not fear the changes you cannot yet name. Do not distrust those very small, very quiet tremors. Do not imagine that you are just making things up. I am present. And when I am there, even if your outer circumstances have not yet turned around, their very nature has already changed. It has changed because you are no longer alone in the dark. It has changed because my light has entered the room you once kept locked. It has changed because your own heart is opening a door it has always held shut. It has changed because I am here, and wherever I am, that place cannot remain as it was. My child, do not panic before the changes surging around your heart. Do not rush to withdraw into yourself every time you feel the ground of your inner world begin to tremble. What is taking place is not some vague restlessness that wants to trap you in fleeting emotions, nor is it a psychological illusion of your own making. This is the moment when I deliberately intervene in the old currents that have bound you for far too long, the moment when I lay my hand on the areas you once believed could never change. The movements within you, whether trembling, anxious, or hard to understand, are not signs that you are losing control, but signs that I am touching the very foundations of your life. When I act, whatever does not come from me will begin to shake. You may feel as though everything is collapsing, but in truth, it is the distorted walls being taken down so that you no longer have to live inside them. I know you have grown used to clinging tightly to everything, even to what wears you out, simply because you fear losing the little bit of stability you think you have. You are afraid that if you let me change things, you will no longer recognize yourself or your life, that you will lose everything you have been holding on to. But my beloved, what I am shaking is not your true identity, but the layers of shell that have clung to you through years of wounding. I have not come to erase who you are. I have come to bring you back to your true self, as I dreamed of you from the very beginning. To do this, I must shake the places you have built up like defensive fortresses, the bitter conclusions you have drawn about yourself, the judgments you have believed over your own life, the scars you have treated as destiny. I am causing these things to crack so they can no longer rule over you. The chains being loosened are not just a few random, sad feelings, but an entire system of invisible shackles that have attached themselves to you through old stories. I've seen the times you were so disappointed that you vowed in your heart, from now on, don't hope for anything anymore, it will hurt less. I have seen every dream you buried, every prayer that once burned fiercely, then faded because you waited so long without seeing an answer. Each crack has formed an invisible boundary. You dare to love, but not with your whole heart. You dare to hope, but always brace yourself for failure. You dare to step forward, but always keep one foot behind. Now, I am cutting off those limits. At times, you will feel as though you are being stripped bare, because those safety coats of pessimism are being removed by my hand. You will feel exposed, but in that very exposure, I am clothing you with something else, not a layer of defense, but the dignity of a beloved child. The long years of waiting that seemed meaningless to you have also always been within my sight. There are desires you held until you were utterly exhausted, only for them to suddenly die out, leaving inside you an emptiness you did not know how to name. You began to believe that you were unworthy, that something was lacking in you, so your prayers went unheard, that perhaps it was better not to hope at all. These very thoughts have bound your feet and caused you to lock your own soul inside the narrow room of cold reality, where you no longer dare to expect anything good, simply to avoid disappointment. Today I step into that room, not to rebuke you for a lack of faith, but to gently loosen the locks you have bolted from within. I am leading you out of the prison of hopes that once died. I want to teach you a new way of expecting, not daydreaming that collapses, but trusting in the one who never changes, even when you're me. Circumstances have not yet caught up. You may not realize it, but what is happening now is not that I am asking your permission, waiting to see if you agree before I act. There are times when I move like a father stepping into a burning house, not waiting for his small child to sign a consent form before carrying them out. I am not seeking your approval in order to set you free. I have been hearing the silent cry of your soul for longer than you yourself have been aware of it. I see the places where you have abandoned yourself, the corners where you have said, "This part of me is beyond saving. I cannot stand by and do nothing before that. I come to claim back what has borne my mark from the very beginning, your heart, your future, the story of your life. I am not stealing them from your hands. I am taking them out of the grip of the things that are destroying you, which you have mistaken for normal. You belong to me. This is not a slogan to recite by heart, but a truth that has long been sealed in the unseen realm. Before you even existed, I had already called you by name. When you entered the world with your first cry, I received you as a gift I treasure. Before every mistake, before every fall, before every time you turned away from me, the seal of belonging to me upon your soul has never been erased. You may forget, but heaven does not forget. The holy ones know under whose protection you have been placed. Even the powers of darkness know it, and that is why they try in every way to make you forget this identity through all kinds of lies. They want you to see yourself as unloved, unchosen, undefended, so that you live like an abandoned child instead of as a rightful son or daughter in the Father's house. I tell you this, the darkness often knows more clearly than you do to whom you belong. It trembles at my name. It cannot bear it when a soul begins to remember whose it is. That is why, when I draw near to you, every scheme that has bound you is forced to come into the light one by one. This is not to terrify you, but so that they can no longer hide in the shadows. When my light shines in, the chains that once clung to your mind, condemning words, shame, inferiority, are compelled to loosen their grip. You may feel as though a battle is raging within you, wanting to believe yet wanting to pull back, feeling both, relieved and afraid. Do not be alarmed. What you are hearing is only the sound of the bonds tightening one last time before they snap for good. Wherever I set my foot, the old order must give way to my purposes. When I step into the room of your inner life, the atmosphere inside must change. The worries that have taken up space will have to slowly recede. The voices of self-condemnation must grow quiet. The fog of doubt must thin out. I do not enter to become one more idea in your collection of beliefs. I enter as the master of the house, returning to set everything in its rightful place. Fear is no longer allowed to sit on the throne. I alone am Lord. Chaos no longer has the right to give the orders. In that space, hope, the very thing you have pushed aside so many times, will be invited back, but this time not as blind optimism, rather as a hope that clings to me. It is my presence that is shaping the atmosphere you are breathing, whether you are fully aware of it or not. You may still hear the sound of traffic on the street, the voices of people passing by. There are still tasks to complete and things to think about. Yet beneath all those layers of noise, every time you turn your heart toward me, the air within you changes again. In the place where there used to be only sighs, gentle pulses of gratitude begin to appear. Where there was once only resentment, slow but sincere words of surrender start to rise. The peace I give is not a numb emptiness, but a solid ground for you to stand on even in unpredictable days. It is different from the feeling that everything is going smoothly. It remains, even when nothing seems fine at all. I am slipping quietly into the steady rhythm of your life to restore to you a kind of peace you lost long ago without even realizing it. That peace does not depend on the praise or criticism of others, does not rest on instant results, and is not shattered by a single unexpected incident. It is the deep security that comes from knowing that, whatever happens, you are still in my hands. I will teach you to live with that peace in the midst of the noisy marketplace, in the midst of stressful work, in the midst of complicated relationships. I will teach you to stop for a few seconds in the middle of your day, to take a deep breath and remember, I am here with you. Every time you do that, you allow my peace to return to its rightful place in your heart. But this will not happen if you insist on clinging to your old habits just because they are familiar. You must let me move some things within you, certain ways of thinking that are already outdated, certain patterns of reaction that keep wounding to you, certain avoidance tactics that keep you from ever being healed. The shift I am working in you is not some emotional gimmick. It is a deep movement at the very roots of who you are. I am leading you out of the territory where you have wandered in circles for so many years just to prove that I'm fine, and I am bringing you into another land where you can honestly say you are not fine and yet know you are still loved. That requires you to accept change, to allow some old things to die so there will be room for what is new to grow. So when you feel as if the very structure of your inner world is being rearranged, do not be afraid. When you find that the things you were once so sure of are suddenly being questioned, do not be quick to conclude that your faith is falling apart. Many times it is I who am uprooting false beliefs you mistook for doctrine, stripping away distorted images of me that you thought were my true face. I am not destroying your faith, I am refining it so it can cling to the right place. I am not tearing you down, I am freeing you from what is not truly you. This shift is real, it is deep, and it is necessary. It is not happening to make your life more chaotic, but so that, in the end, you can be freer than you have ever been. Everything that is happening is not accidental, nor is it the consequence of some mistake on your part that I am angrily fixing. No, my beloved, this is an initiative of love. I am doing this because I have decided not to let you spend the rest of your life as a wounded person, limping along and hurriedly bandaging yourself, just hoping each day will end quickly. I want you to know what it is to truly live, not merely to exist. That is why every shaking, every change, every moment when you feel cornered yet unexpectedly sense me drawing nearer, all of it is part of my plan of deliverance for you. You may not understand all of this now. There are still many questions, many whys. I do not blame you for that. I ask only one thing of you. Do not run away from me halfway through. Do not, out of fear, go back to the old chains just because they are familiar. Do not refuse the new peace I am offering you simply because it feels strange. Let yourself soften a little more in my hands, one more time, for one more day. Every "yes, I will stay" that you whisper in your heart has far greater value than you imagine. That is how you cooperate with this work of transformation, and engrave this deeply in your heart. The great shift taking place in your life is not meant to glorify anyone else, not meant to build some image on the outside, but is entirely for you, for your soul, for your future in me. I am doing this because I love you. I do not want to lose you into the hands of fear, into the hands of disappointment, into the hands of darkness. You belong to me, wholly, completely, deeply, forever. Whether you feel it a lot or just a little, that truth still stands firm, and it is from that truth that everything else in your life will gradually be rearranged according to a new order, the order of a child held firmly in their father's hand, right in the midst of every change. My beloved child, what you are feeling in your chest is not an invisible grip tightening around you, as you once thought, but the natural response of your soul as it recognizes my presence drawing near. You think it is pressure, but in reality, it is an awakening. A deep ground within you is being plowed again after so many months and years of neglect, and when the soil is touched, it trembles, not because of pain, but because new life is trying to break through. You are not being cornered. You are simply being stirred by a love that has been waiting for you for a long time. That feeling is not meant to punish you or make you panic. It is like the moment an old door is about to open, its hinges creaking because they have been unused for so long. But when that door opens, new light rushes in, and everything within you begins to see more clearly, more spaciously, more truly. You need to know this. Wherever my presence is, there your soul cannot remain still. When I draw near, the paralysis within you begins to loosen. The things you had grown used to living with suddenly no longer fit you. That is not anxiety. It is your own becoming, like a seed pushing through the old soil to rise toward the sun. It stretches, it strains, it quivers, but that is life. My child, you are not being pushed down. You are being lifted up out of the layers of dust that have long covered your heart. If you pay close attention, you will notice that, in the midst of those racing heartbeats, there is a strange warmth, as if a gentle flame is being lit inside your very body. That is the sign that I am drawing you out of the vague fears you have carried for so long, and leading you into the current of something holier, truer, and more enduring. Sometimes you call that feeling suffocating, but in truth, your inner world is expanding so it can hold something greater. For so many years you have lived inside cramped little boxes built by your own worries. You have grown used to keeping everything to yourself, used to shrinking yourself so you don't bother anyone, used to suppressing everything that is genuine within you. Now that I am stepping in, your soul is like a room that has been locked up for far too long. The moment light pours in, the dust rises, and you think you are falling into chaos. But in reality, it is only the stirring of what no longer belongs in you being brought up to the surface. You are not being choked. You are learning to inhale the fresh air I am bringing. You are not under pressure. You are welcoming a change that reaches all the way to your foundations. There are moments when you think your mind is racing too fast, thoughts rushing on like water spilling over a dam. But my child, When I come close, the areas you have long tried to press down begin to be released. What you call chaos is simply old emotions looking for a way out. It is the moment when I touch the places you thought were numb, when I shake memories you locked away, when I awaken desires you once buried because you believed you did not deserve them. You do not see this, so you think everything is falling apart. But in truth, your soul is about to be rearranged according to its true order, a pattern I have set in place from the very beginning. Those surges that make your heart pound are simply the natural response of a heart being touched by truth. Truth always carries weight, but it is the weight of glory, not of pressure. My child, listen to this deeply. What you call too much is, in fact, it is time. You are not being attacked from the outside. You are being awakened from within. Your spirit has gone untouched for a long time, and now, as I call to it, it responds with a strength you have never felt before. Like water that has lain still in a pond for too long, when the wind touches it, the surface ripples. You do not call that wind a threat, you recognize it as a sign of life. So it is with the soul. When I come, it moves, it opens, it seeks me, it knows me, and it realizes it has belonged to me for a very long time. I want you to understand that none of your emotions cause me disappointment. The tightness in your throat is not a sign of weakness. It is your heart longing to speak the truth. The heaviness in your chest is not collapse. It is your heart straining to widen so it can receive the presence it has always yearned for, but did not know how to name. The tears that suddenly overflow are not instability. They are the first drops of rain in the spiritual desert of your soul. All the signals you consider abnormal, every one of them is proof that you are stepping into the deep places of communion. When the divine life touches your soul, it cannot help but set things in motion. It softens, melts, and dissolves what does not belong, so that I can place within you what is eternal. My dear one, what I am doing in you is not merely mending broken pieces. I am bringing your whole being back to life. You are not only being soothed, you are being reborn. As my presence covers you, heavy layers you have carried for years begin to fall off by themselves without your striving. The shortness of breath you once experienced is not from pressure, but because the lungs of your spirit are learning again how to breathe the air of heaven. The waves of emotion rising in you are not born of insecurity. They are the signs that you are stepping out of the realm of death, leaving the old shell of your former self to rise into the self I have intended for you from all eternity. Little one, I do not need you to understand everything that is happening. I only need you not to be afraid. There is no storm within you that lies beyond my control. There is no trembling in you whose cause I do not know. When you feel you can hardly stand, I hold you. When you do not know which way to turn, I lead you. When your heart is overflowing, I am the place where it can be poured out. Every racing heartbeat is only a sign that I am very near. You are sensing me with your very body, with your mind, with your breath, because I am not outside of you. I am within you. It is precisely this contact that makes your whole being tremble, and that is good. Do not be alarmed when you find yourself becoming more sensitive. When I draw near, your soul becomes more finely tuned to perceive my movements. You are not becoming weaker, you are being opened. What you call instability is, in fact, the opening of spiritual doors that have long been shut. My call has reached the roots of your soul, and those roots are stirring, seeking water. I am bringing you back to your true source, a source you have longed for since before you knew how to name it. Precious child, quiet your heart and hold fast to this truth. You are being drawn closer to me, not pushed away. And the closer you come, the more clearly you will feel every movement of the kingdom of heaven within you. This is not disorder, this is communion. It is not fear, it is life. It is not oppression, it is fullness. It is not instability. It is the echo of eternity touching the present moment of your life. And I, myself, am the one who is doing this. You are not lost. You are being found. You are not losing control. You are being led. You are not being forced. You are being loved in a powerful way your soul has waited so long to finally feel. And my child, in the midst of all this trembling, I am here. I have not left you for a moment. I am the source that wakes you, the stream that makes your spirit blossom, the warmth that makes your heart beat strongly, the stillness that keeps you standing firm. I am touching the deepest places where no one has ever dared to step, and it is there that I will transform you. It has always been me, not something else, not a vague feeling, not an invisible pressure, not the tangled turmoil of your mind, only me, the one your soul has longed for since the very beginning. You have often thought that peace must look like a still lake, like an atmosphere without ripples, without sound, without impact. You have wished for peace to be something that soothes you, lulls you, lets your soul sink into complete quiet. But my child, the true peace that heaven pours down is not always a warm blanket wrapping around you. Sometimes it comes like a strong wind that blows away the layers of dust you have let settle on your soul for far too long. Sometimes it is like a bell that makes the sleeping parts of you sit up, trembling because they are being awakened, not because they are afraid. You dream of a gentle stillness, but if that stillness stretches on too long, it can numb you until you no longer recognize the sound of my calling. I do not come to lull you into numbness. I come to lift you out of dead zones, weary zones, hardened zones you yourself did not realize you had sunk into. So, when you feel your heart being stirred, do not be too quick to label it as trouble. It may be the very sign that I am coming nearer to you than ever before. I do not stir you to wound you, but to soften the dry, hard patches within you, those patches that have turned into stones, making it difficult for you to notice the subtle movements of my grace, the heaviness in your chest, the nameless discomfort, the sense that something inside is shifting. None of these are the punishment you imagine. They are gentle waves brushing the shore, announcing that the waters are rising and new life is flooding into the cracked, dry land of your soul. You are confused because the peace you want does not look like the peace I am building in you. But my child, what you call chaos is often nothing more than my loving touch upon places you believed were dead. You have grown so used to the noise of the world that when I begin to adjust you from within, you assume something is going wrong. It is not so. The world has taught you to chase quick answers, instant fixes, comforting words that go down easily. I do not move according to such rhythms. I do not come to coax you into lying back down in an old familiar comfort zone. I come to lead you into a place where peace no longer rests on emotion, but on identity. You feel tense because I am awakening in you the very things the world's noise has pushed down. You think you are getting weaker, but in truth you are becoming sensitive again, sensitive to me, sensitive to truth, sensitive to the deepest needs of your own soul. My child, this is not a cause for alarm. It is a sign that the eyes of your spirit are opening after a long season of being veiled. When I step into your life, I do not stand politely at the door like a guest waiting to be invited in. I walk straight into the places you hide the most, where you store your fears, your wounds, your habits that have hardened your heart. And when I touch those corners, you will feel a trembling force, as if the ground within you is shifting, not to collapse, but to be rebuilt. You fear that shaking because you are used to standing still, even though that stillness is not true peace, only resignation. I do not want you to live like someone so accustomed to darkness that you forget what light even looks like. I do not want your peace to be so shallow that a light breeze of life is enough to make you crumble. I want to build in you a depth of peace so solid that even in great storms, you remain standing, because that peace does not rest on circumstances but on me. To do that, I must rouse what has fallen asleep. You often ask why, whenever I draw near, you do not feel comforted immediately. It is because I do not touch only your surface, I touch your core. Imagine a garden that has gone long without care. The soil is dry, weeds have grown, roots are tangled. Before sowing new seeds, the gardener must loosen the soil, pull out the weeds, uncover the dead roots. In that moment of tilling, the ground looks disturbed, but it is precisely through that disturbance that new life can begin. That is what I am doing with you. You feel yourself being stirred, but in truth, I am preparing you. Those sensations you call discomfort are the sacred tilling your soul needs. Without it, you will never grow deep roots. And if your roots do not go deep, how will you stand when life's storms rise? I know you have heard so often the voices of people saying, just live quietly, don't think too much. But I speak differently. Let me awaken what is sleeping in you, because true peace is not the absence of thought, but the certainty of whose hand is holding yours. The peace I give is not indifference, nor a temporary escape from all your problems. The peace I give is a holy alertness, where you know you are being held fast, even while everything around you is still turning. You think peace means having no strong emotions, yet sometimes true peace arrives wearing a very strong feeling, so strong that you know with certainty it could not have come from your small mind, but from me. You feel your heart grow heavy because I am brushing away the dust that has settled on your sacred sensitivity. You feel yourself getting hot inside because I am melting the layers of ice that have for so long kept you from being easily moved by truth. The world, with its endless noise, with its thousands of invitations and endless choices, has worn down your sacred intuition. You listen to so many human voices that you barely hear mine. You run after so many things you must do that you forget the things you must become. There are words I whisper into your heart, but because your mind is too crowded, those whispers sink like stones into the depths of the sea, and so I must shake you so you can hear again. That shaking is not pleasant, but it is necessary. It is how I renew the sensory system of your soul, the way one retunes a guitar whose strings have gone out of key. If it is never tuned, it will never play the right sound. Your life is the same. If you do not let me retune you, you will go on living amid distorted notes, believing them to be music. My child, do not be afraid when I go deep. Do not call the tremors in your heart trouble. Do not look at the heavy moments as bad signs. They are doors I am opening to lead you into a wider place, the realm of understanding, awakening, and recognizing your own self in the light I shine. If my intent were to hurt you, I would not choose to touch you with such gentleness. Do you know this? Every time your heart aches over something I am working on, I am standing right beside you, one hand on the wound and the other holding you so you do not collapse. I do not correct you to punish you. I correct you to restore you, because I know that if you let what life has built in you remain as it is, you will lose the ability to recognize me. And once you no longer recognize me, you will believe yourself to be forever alone, even though I am always there. And remember this, my little one. True peace does not come before change. True peace comes in the midst of change. It is not the silence of a room with no sound, but the calm of a heart that knows it is being led, no matter how noisy the room becomes. The peace of the world wants to lull you to sleep. My peace wants to wake you up. The peace of the world wants you to avoid. My peace wants you to face. The peace of the world keeps you where you are. My peace pushes you toward where you are meant to be, and I will never do that by crushing you. I do it by touching the weakest place in you, so that you may become strong exactly where you need strength. Do not be afraid. You are only being awakened, and when you are awakened, you will realize that I have never left you, not even for a second. Beloved child whom I have cherished since the first days of your life, now that you have passed through the undercurrents that made your heart feel as if it were sinking, I invite you to embrace what you once avoided. You have tried to hide it beneath guarded smiles, under words that sounded strong, behind days where you pretended to be fine, but deep inside you know there is a part of you that has never been brought into my light. Today, I plead with you, let the tears fall as they have long wanted to fall. Do not force them back. Do not fear that your tears will make you weak. It is precisely when you allow your eyes to blur that you begin to see clearly the face that is bending down toward you. Let your breathing become full again. Leave behind the short, hurried breaths that life keeps dragging you into. You do not know that the soul's breathing also has its seasons. And in this season I want you to breathe in my presence the way a thirsty, barren tree drinks. The first rain of the season, relax the hands that are clenching everything, and in doing so, let fall from your shoulders the expectations others have placed on you, and even the burdens you have placed on yourself. You have tried to hold on to control, to protect your image in the eyes of others, to adjust everything so that no one sees you trembling. But now, as your strength runs out, your hands can no longer hold all of that. And do you know what? I rejoice that you have come to the end of yourself, for only when your hands are empty of everything else can you finally take hold of mine, The intensity you once went through, the storms that seemed to tear your heart apart, have now been turned into my gentle nearness. Not because the storm grew smaller, but because I have gone deeper into your heart, bringing you to a place where even a small breeze can make your whole life shine. The deep longing you have carried for so long, the longing to see me, to hear me, to feel me, has not been in vain. It is that very thirst which has become the path that brings you before me, even though you think you walk too slowly, sometimes pause for too long, sometimes lose even the traces of your own footsteps. You did not build that path. You did not inflate it into something great. You have walked it with your very life, with endurance, with every fall and every rising again, with the nights when your tears soaked your pillow and no one saw, and now you are being transformed at the very root by the very thing you once considered a burden. You see only the sweat and the tears, but I see the resilience being forged in you, little by little. For I do not merely allow you to understand me with your mind. I have allowed you to bear within yourself a clear imprint of the closeness between you and me, an imprint no word can take away, no trial can erase, and no power can ever snatch from your hands. That imprint will remain in you like a small flame in your heart when night falls, like a seed quietly sprouting in the depths of the soil, like a promise that never fails its appointed time. It will refine your understanding so that you no longer look at life through fear, but with eyes that know there is one who always watches over you. It will direct your steps so that you no longer walk after fleeting emotions, but follow the quiet yet fierce call of my love. And above all, that imprint will remind you that even when everything seems to be collapsing, I am the one tearing down the walls that stand between you and me. You thought that the collapse was loss, but in truth it is only the shaking of old walls that your soul no longer needs. The things that fall apart are not your life. The things that fall apart are what once kept you hidden from me. I know well the feeling you have gone through, the feeling of one who walks through desolate regions, among the deep roots of doubt, through spaces thick with the shadows of anxiety. You keep walking, not because you are brave, but because you have no other choice. Yet even when your steps grow weary, I remain beside you, quietly gathering every fallen fragment of your heart back together. There are moments when you look around and everything seems to turn into a gray fog, no longer sharp, no longer offering any place to rest. You search for the light as if it were the last breath you can cling to. You await a great sign, a ray that pierces the darkness, a miracle that makes all your pain disappear. But as those days stretch on, you begin to doubt. You ask yourself whether that light has abandoned you, whether I am still there, whether you have done something wrong that made the light leave your life. And I come to speak to you with the gentlest voice. That light has never vanished, never gone far, never weakened, even for a single heartbeat. It has only been kept, sheltered, hidden in my hand for the right moment, so that when you receive it, you will no longer be afraid that it will leave you again. And that moment is now, my child. The light you thought had burned out is preparing to rise like dawn after a long night. But unlike before, it will not flicker like a lamp about to die. It will not leave you wondering whether you are only imagining things. It will not remain far away, forcing you to run after it. This time, that light will be poured out upon you, covering every breath, every heartbeat, every fragment of your soul. It will pass through even the places you keep most hidden, down into the dark regions you never dared to look at directly. The light has not changed. You are the one who has changed. You are the one who has opened the door for it to enter. You are the one who has been purified by suffering, sharpened by silence, and nourished by a perseverance that no one has seen. You no longer need gentle comforts that only help you get through a single day. You no longer need soothing words that merely help you stand for a short while. You are ready for the deep radiance of wisdom, for a light that does not fade, for the holy maturity I have prepared for you long before you knew how to call my name. You have passed through the fire, and now that fire no longer burns you. It has become the light that guides your way. You have passed through the silence, and that silence no longer confuses you. It has become my quiet voice within your heart. You have passed through the storms, and the storms no longer make you collapse. They have become the testimony that you can remain standing without losing yourself. My beloved child, I see you, I know you, I understand you, and I am here to remind you that this journey is not meaningless. Every shaking you have gone through, every tear, every time you thought you had lost your way, each one is part of the rebirth into which I am leading you. The light I am preparing for you is not something you must fight to grasp. It is a gift for a soul that has learned to bow low, to rely, to open itself to me. And today, as that light begins to flood into places you once thought would remain dark forever, I want you to know this. You are not only being healed, you are being renewed from the very root. My child, now let the voice of your heart rise before me with no hiding and no reserve, as the truest offering your soul can bring. Almighty God, I come before your presence with a heart still broken, yet no longer wishing to run away. I have tried to mend the fractures within me by myself, tried to cover the dark corners I was too ashamed to face. But now I realize there is no place safer for my soul than in your very arms. Please step into the places I always thought you would refuse. Step into the chaos. Step into the silence. Step into those days when I can no longer tell where my dreams end and my fears begin. Please bring my soul back to life, soothe the screaming within, and awaken in me a new warmth. I give you the right to shape my life according to your will, because I no longer have the strength to change what has gone on for far too long. Gentle Father, I come to you like a child running home after a long and weary day. I do not come to prove that I am strong, but so that you may see clearly the weak places I have always tried to hide. Please wipe my eyes so that I can see your footprints in the silence, for I know that at times I have misunderstood that silence and thought I had been abandoned. Draw me closer, help me feel your breath in every mysterious stirring of my heart. Let new life spring up in my barren places, a life that only you can give. O you who created my soul, I offer up to you the things I cannot even name, the smoldering worries, the clouded thoughts, the regions of my heart I locked away long ago. Please use your silence to break the shell of fear within me, and use your light to awaken the parts of me I thought were dead. I ask that you not come with the roar of a great wind, but with a gentle breeze, just strong enough to let me know that you are here. Please reset the rhythm of my life to be in harmony with your sacred rhythm. O my Lord, I lay before you every tear I ever wiped away quickly in the dark. I thought no one saw, but you saw them all. I thought no one understood, but you understand even the smallest movement within my heart. Please turn those tiny sacrifices into seeds of a new path, where I can walk more lightly because I know you are guarding me. Touch the things I have underestimated and turn them into precious records in your hands. O you who love me to the very end, I hand over to you the tangles I can no longer undo on my... I have tried to arrange myself so I would look put together, but the more I tried, the more I feared that you would be disappointed. Today I lay down that polished outer garment and come to you exactly as I am, tired, weak, full of contradictions. Please come in and cleanse me from within, for only your love has the power to transform me at the very root. Teach me not to run from you when I feel unworthy, but to run toward you precisely because I am in need. O you who see through every hidden mystery, I know that you do not measure my success by what I accomplish in the light, but by the faithfulness I keep in the places where no one sees. Please grant me strength to live honestly before you, so I no longer have to strain to cover the wounds that have remained unhealed for so long. Grant me eyes that can recognize your quiet work on the days when no obvious miracle seems to happen. Please give me the courage to trust in your silence, for I know it is a silence that is still at work. O Lord, I thank you for not turning your face away from the broken pieces I once tried to hide. Thank you for choosing to step into the places I used to think were far too messy to be worthy of you. I thank you for a love that does not demand my perfection, but loves me precisely when I am at my weakest. I know that every quiet change taking place within me is because you are touching me, little by little. My heart bows down before your kindness. I thank you, gentle Father, for all that I cannot hear or see and yet is still moving for my good. Thank you that your silence is a saving silence, not the silence of abandonment. Thank you that every tear I shed is kept by you as a treasure. Thank you for allowing me to recognize my true worth in your eyes, and not in the eyes of the world. O Lord, I am profoundly grateful that you have been by my side on the days when I thought no one could possibly understand me. Thank you for letting me feel the warmth of new life, even when nothing on the outside has yet changed. Thank you that your very presence makes everything different, softens my heart, and causes my fears to fade away. Thank you for never leaving me, not even for a single moment. Lord, the source of my hope, I thank you for sowing into my heart the slightest movements that are yet full of power. I thank you for standing in the midst of the chaos of my life and turning it into the starting place of something new. I thank you that you look at my true worth, not at the layers of facade I have tried to build. And I thank you that you loved me even before I knew how to love you. I offer this prayer in the holy name of the Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we can build a strong and vibrant community of faith.